We're going to talk about Rogue One, a Star Wars story. Are you excited?
Yeah, I am excited.
What are you excited for?
I like the idea of a standalone Star Wars movie that doesn't involve sort of the space wizardry of it. You get to see. Well, I'm hoping you get to see more normal people that like are just not like magical family Jedis. And apparently, they're marketing it as a war movie. We'll see how heavy Disney goes on that.
There's going to be one thing in it, though. One lightsaber.
Oh yeah. Also Darth Vader. I mean, we're old, so we're the generation where the idea of seeing like Darth Vader on the big screen and big AT-AT walkers again is fairly exciting.
Yeah.
So there's a nerdy excitement in it, right? And then there's also the unknown of like how are they going to start this movie? And here's the big point I'm wondering is since we've never heard of any of these characters in any of the other Star Wars movies.
This might be a spoiler if you haven't thought about it yet.
Yeah, I mean, I know nothing. I've been trying to avoid anything. I don't know any spoilers about this movie besides what I saw in the trailer. But, like, do they all die?
Yeah, I know. I kind of hope they do. Because the opening crawl of Star Wars from 1977 was talking about a band of rebels has scored their first victory against the Empire. And during a battle, they managed to get some plans, which then leads to the beginning of Star Wars, where Princess Leia and R2-D2 and C-3PO are on that ship where we first see Darth Vader and everything. So it really feels like this film is just snug right up against that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like it's the events preceding it. But again, we never see those people again. We never really hear about them. So is this sort of a Seven Samurai kind of thing?
Suicide mission. Yeah.
Basically, where nobody makes it out, which I think could be impactful and really kind of interesting, and certainly a different sort of Star Wars movie than we're used to, where it really is kind of like beginning, middle, and end, and like rises and falls, but it's obviously hopeful and happy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess, and I don't know enough about any of these characters yet to know, but if they're all sort of losers, like dead end, and then they come together to do like one thing, and then like all get smashed and killed for it, like there is sort of like a certain, coolness in that for the story. But are they brave enough to do that as a film studio to like release all these new toys and new characters and everything that we have here, and then kill them all, right? So who knows? But at the same time, if they are that important to the Star Wars world, why have you not, like, say the main girl, Jyn Erso, whatever, but she's like a huge hero. Yeah. How come you've never heard of her again? Or if she was so great in battle, why would you never see her again, kind of thing? So that's the thing. Is like I kind of wonder how they're going to resolve that.
What I'm excited, well, I mean, I want to bring it back to Seven Samurai a bit, because what's a lot of people, if you're sort of a deep Star Wars fan, you know that George Lucas made a Hidden Fortress. He made Star Wars thinking about a Hidden Fortress a lot.
Well, the droid's relationship is Hidden Fortress.
Yeah, exactly. So it's sort of, I'm getting the feeling that this new movie is kind of Seven Samurai, which I think is really interesting. And it's exactly what you just described, where it is sort of these losers come together for whatever reason. I guess the Empire has probably took out all the heroes or whatever already, like we saw in the Clone Wars cartoons and everything. So this ragtag team will go in and do this thing where they get the Death Star plans.
The end. No, just kidding. I mean, maybe the movie is just as simple as that, or maybe there's a few stragglers. Maybe they survive. I'm looking forward to this because it doesn't have to follow the regular beats of a Star Wars movie. At this point, you don't have to have like magicians. The only magician I think you're going to have is Darth Vader, who I imagine is probably more in a cameo role and sort of just looms large off screen most of the time as like someone that everybody else is scared of.
And we've all heard, again, the deep Star Wars fans have all heard already that they cut a scene of Darth Vader sort of like killing a bunch of rebels by hand, which I think would have been amazing to see, and we want to see that. And this sort of leads me to the question, I'm like, well, who are they making this movie for? I mean, if that's too dark, but it's supposed to be a war movie, like that's where I have a bit of concern, in that we do want to see, like when Anakin Skywalker in one of the prequels goes to kill the Tusken Raiders after they've mutilated his mom, but they don't show it. We always felt really ripped off by that. Like, you want to see Darth Vader turn evil?
Yeah.
So it's like we want to see Darth Vader being really bad, because then the people that are standing in opposition to him, obviously there's more tension there. So anyway, we'll see. I mean, we won't know.
Well, that reminds me of a George Lucas quote that I read, where he was like, people were talking about their disappointment with the prequels, especially I think this was after Phantom Menace, but they had the little kid in Jar Jar and stuff, and he's like, well, it would just be boring. People don't want to see Darth Vader chopping people's heads off for 3 movies. And almost every person I was like, what? Are you kidding? That would be amazing.
Yeah. But it is, you do have to remember that when we saw these movies, we were little children, and it was a different world. We didn't have our hands held as much. And so in a way we tasted forbidden fruit, and now, you know, we do live in more of a mommy state kind of world, right? So I don't know. Yeah, of course I want to see it be. I don't even care if it's dark, honestly. I just want it to be a really solid, interesting story.
Yeah, I guess I want it to matter, because I mean, if you look at it, there's not really a reason this movie needs to be made. Like, I mean, they've already told the story in like 2 paragraphs, right? But if it's a really interesting story and it's got really interesting characters, and it's then yeah, show it and make the movie. But yeah, just make it matter is what I'm hoping that they do. And
what I'm excited for is, I know you've hated, and we've spoken about this for probably wasted weeks of our lives talking about this, but you hate the prequels so much, and I'm kind of like, I'm give and take with them. But to me, it's interesting that this is the new post George Lucas Star Wars institution making a prequel. And it's sort of a subtle point where it's sort of saying, well, here's how we're going to do it. Yeah. So we'll just see. Is it easy to make a Star Wars prequel that holds together? Like, we're gonna learn this right away.
That's true. Yeah. And visually, this is one thing I was wondering too, is, and this is a small point, but I'd be curious if they did it, because so far it looks like they have all of like kind of the outfits. They have regular stormtroopers, the original ones. They have some rebel outfits and stuff. But what I haven't seen yet is if they're trying to make it look like, if this movie goes right up to the original Star Wars, where's the sideburns and like the dude's like fluffy hair kind of thing? I'm kind of wondering if it's like those aesthetic touches, which, I mean,
where it looks like 1976 when they filmed it.
Yeah, I'm wondering if like if we are to believe that is an in-universe thing, I want to see like some total like 70s sideburns dudes and
some bad dialogue like the word boogie or something. Let's boogie. Get into the TIE fighter. Yeah. Interesting point. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I haven't seen that from the trailers. Like they look like they've got like the sets and the design and all that stuff. Like it looks perfect, as I sort of expect they would at this point. But yeah, as far as like getting people that look kind of like 70s weird dads, so like, you know, Imperial commanders and stuff, I don't know if they're gonna quite do that. So, well, and that look was gone by Empire pretty much anyway.
And and definitely the actors in the new film are, you know, really well put together, beautiful people, which has been out of Hollywood, or you know what I mean, like back in the 70s, people all looked like they you know, just got beat up at a bar the night before. Like Harrison Ford he's not a typically handsome guy now. You know what I mean?
And a huge scar on his chin that in 2016 as an actor, if he was young, would probably have been like a deal breaker.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So,
interesting.
Hard to say.
Cool. And then what character are you most excited about? Like, I like the robot K2SO. He looks cool. Like,
he looks sassy.
The sort of battle droid guy. Yeah. You can hold him up.
Yeah, we were talking about the design of this guy. He kind of looks a little bit sort of like a holdback to like the prequels of sort of like one of the battle droid kind of looking guys. But he also has a head that's a little bit like a medical droid.
Yeah.
I'd say. So,
yeah. Well, and this is Dengar's plate here too, right? Like that's exactly what the bounty hunter Dengar has.
So anyway, he's a little greatest hits guy.
Yeah.
I don't know, characters. I'm curious to see what they do with the lead, the Jyn Erso, the main girl. Like, I want to see, because she has a lot to live up to with this one right here. I think we can all agree that Rey was a very compelling character, and then, I mean, and was like very, you know, sort of like fits into the Star Wars mythos very well, and is like this, you know, looming huge female character that I kind of wonder if the new, or not new, but the girl in this movie is going to be overshadowed by, or is going to sort of make her own sort of statement. And not just saying because you have 2 different female leads that they're going to be exactly the same, but just that Rey is so overshadowing. I'm just kind of wondering, like, it's like putting like a new Luke Skywalker in kind of thing. I'm wondering if that's...
Well, Luke's an interesting thing to bring up, because Jyn has a dad issue, sort of like Luke had a dad issue, where this, you know, there's something going on there that we don't really know about.
I sort of have a crush on the Han Solo-y looking pilot guy.
Yeah.
He just looked really handsome. He looks like dashing. I kind of like him.
Well, I know which action figure you'll be buying. Anyway,
actually no. The character I'm most looking forward to is easily the new bad guy, the director Krennic.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I like that actor a lot, Ben Mendelsohn. And I only saw one line of dialogue from a trailer, and he looks like he has that sort of Nazi SS officer imperial thing down. And if they give somebody like that a really meaty character, I was kind of hoping for that from Force Awakens was General Hux.
Yeah.
And he was good, but he was almost too young. And I wanted someone with a little bit more gravitas as like an imperial role, and this guy looks like he has it. So
Right. Okay. Well, anyway, we're excited.
I'm excited.
Yeah.